Morning.
Morning. We're at Thirlby's Machine Shop this morning. We're going to see what that block looks like. Be careful, Ben, you're going to fall. I really want to see what it looks like after it gets cleaned up, because it's ugly. We know it's been sitting a long time, and since we had to bang every one of those pistons out and there was a big ridge on the top, I'm afraid it's not going to be able to just be bored, but we'll let these guys decide what it needs for sure, and we'll get to that discussion, but let's look at that block. Right, so it's out of the furnace over here. I'm going to put it over here in the tumbler. And well, first of all, what we're looking at, we want to see how bad these bores are now that we got some of the gunk cleaned out of them. And the bores, we talked about initially that it had a lot of ridge. We could already feel that. Well, not only does it have a lot of ridge, let me get this all the way rolled over where we can see it real well. Of course, it looks like water sat in the top of it. Bores are rusty. The pistons were certainly corroding. What we're presuming, based on what we see right now, is that we're going to need sleeves. So furnace, shot, and then tumble. Tumbleina. Maybe it'll shake all the bad stuff out. Now we're checking the block for cracks. For cranks. The crank is gone. So now we're checking the block for cracks. One of the areas these nail heads are a concern is around the starter boss. Not only just the boss in general, because you can see it hangs out here, but then just here, because quite honestly it holds a bunch. It's so tight clearance it holds a bunch of crap in there. So I'm sure it holds heat as well, so it's prone from that standpoint. As we look at the bore, you're going to look and see what we obviously have damage on the cylinder walls, and we're going to measure that to see how deep it is. And Mike will have a good idea from his experience of whether the depth of those grooves are able to be machined out. Now, if we need to cut it, say 40 thousandths. Typically you don't go over 60 on most engines. But let's say we're at 40 thousandths or even 60 thousandths. We're going to sonic test the wall. So basically we're going to see in 4 spots around the wall, cylinder wall, how thick that is. The general rule of thumb I've always heard is you want about 180 thousandths of wall thickness all the way around. And if it gets much thinner than that, it doesn't transfer the heat out of the cylinder walls into the water as well as it needs to, and then you start to warp or oval the bore as it heats up, and of course then that would cause the piston to hang and scuff and all those types of things. So after we sonic test it, after we get an idea of what it will need to go to, and then sonic test it, we'll know where we're at as far as boring is concerned versus putting sleeves in it.
Right, about the only major malfunction we're going to have is just all the cylinder damage.
Well, that's the question, is exactly how
much.
Yep. What's it going to take?
That's the tricky part with the rust, is that some cylinders may look terrible but end up cleaning up, and other ones that has just leaked right into all the material.
Right, because that porosity could go underneath the skin.
Underneath the skin, for sure. So I have a sneaky suspicion we're probably going to be putting some sleeves.
Okay, so how many sleeves do you think? Because we're going to get to a point where it may not make sense to put all the sleeves in. We put, if we can clean it up and have 1 sleeve or 2 sleeves or whatever, or look at the option of a different block.
Yeah, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right close to 8?
Probably 6.
6? Does that
Two,
count the
and
one I
then-
put at Chipper?
No. So maybe up to
All
number
right.
7 there. I think, or maybe
Okay.
one that.
Let's look at the cost of sleeves versus even, worst case, I would say other cases, getting a different block and kind of gambling that it's not cracked.
Right.
These are prone to crack on the other side at the starter, right at the bottom edge. They're known for that, and this one doesn't have that. So
Yeah, I think we'll wait it out, see which way to go,
Okay.
and see where you can find a block and how much it's actually going to be compared
actually,
to.
and to get it here, because I don't know of anyone locally that has any
Here.
offhand. So now the heads, on the other hand, are a whole different story.
That doesn't look like it should look.
Some of them like that.
That's not good. Those are ugly. Shizzle sticks. All right, so I'm not sure how optimistic I am on the seat replacement. So the thin seats are roughly 217 thick, which means we got to put a 217 counter bore in. Now, when you look at this, so this is 217 from here to this end. So you're going to come in and you're going to cut a counter bore to push the seat down in there, which is all fine and dandy, but you still got to have meat on the backside to stop the seat or to hold it. I don't know, we'll see what Mark says, but I don't think there's enough there, but he's the guy that does cylinder heads and not me. So what we're going to show here is our lack of optimism for these seats to work. We're going to cut one exhaust pocket so we can, like we were going to press in a seat and see how much material is actually left there, and kind of wrap up our preclusion of needing different heads. Our test subject.
Pull it out of there. How are we over?
The concern is over in this area, right? Yeah. Almost a knife edge. At the same time, the other concern is getting into the jackets, too, or at least creating a thin spot for the jacket. I mean.
So, conclusion confirmed?
Yes, conclusion confirmed. We are not going to reuse these heads. We're going to take the advice of the experts and go after some different castings. All right, well, as it stands, I got some phone calls to make and see if I can locate a different set of heads. In the meantime, we'll continue discussing what we're going to do on the block. These are the problems you run into, and we're going to figure out what the best course of action is and move on. But we are committed to doing a nail head, so we'll find something.
Comment, like, subscribe.
Yeah. Comments, likes, subscribe. Rock on. Hey.
All right.
Yep.